My name is Diana Cabrices. I'm the Chief Evangelist here at Wealthtender, and I'm joined by Brian Thorp, CEO of Wealthtender. Brian, if you want to give a quick shout out.
Appreciate everybody being here today. As Diana mentioned, we will keep this quick and impactful. If you do have any follow-up questions, you'll know where to find us, but we'll just jump right in.
That sounds perfect. Okay, so what are we all here to do today? We're here to talk about, once you have a review, what you can do with this client review to maximize it, to help it go to work for you. We're not really here to talk a lot about compliance today. There's plenty of other times we can talk about compliance. We're not really here to talk about what your process looks like to even ask a client for a review. We're always here to help on both of those fronts, but today's webinar is all about 20 different ways, 20 different strategies that you can use to implement your reviews. And we've set a goal of making this in 20 minutes, the 20 strategies in 20 minutes, but we will have a live Q&A at the end of the session. So if you're joining us, yes, we're going to get through 20 tips in 20 minutes, but we will have a live Q&A at the end of the session where you can come and ask any of your questions about. All right, it looks like our numbers are evening out, Brian. So I say we jump right into this. Some of you are still walking into the room. We're going to roll right into the 20 tips in 20 minutes, and then we'll have a live Q&A at the end. Now, because I love to talk a lot, I'm going to set myself a timer really quickly here. Brian, feel free to do that on your end. I'm going to go ahead and hit the start button. And in about 10 seconds, we're going to kick off and we're going to get started. So excited to have you if you're here. Thank you for joining us. Q&A box, chat box, they're all open. Feel free to drop questions. We'll do a live Q&A at the end. Okay, so strategy number one. If you get a review, what's one of the first things you should do with it? Create a dedicated testimonials page on your website. If you're looking at the top left of this image here, you'll see I say website pages. All of our tips are going to be categorized. Maybe it's social, maybe it's video, but this one in particular is for your website. The website is a great place to have all of your reviews, and it's a great place to then link back to when you're marketing in other channels. You might be going to social media and marketing your reviews. You might be marketing your reviews in email. Based on the way compliance works, you should always be linking back to all of your reviews when you're choosing just to spotlight one. And we're going to definitely talk about spotlighting different reviews in different places. So this is the starting point. This is the foundation. Create a page where you can have all of your reviews living so you can link back to it later. All right, tip number two, though, I'm going to pass this one over to you, Brian. Similar but different.
Right. So as Diana mentioned, obviously having that testimonials page on your website is important for marketing. You can have a link from your navigation menu on your site, but it's not as front and center as putting the testimonials directly on your homepage. So what we do at Wealthtender is we provide widgets that allow you to do just that, but you don't have to use a widget from Wealthtender. There are ways that you can compliantly share just a handful of your reviews on your homepage. When you do that, you do need to ensure that you are linking back to a representative list or to a complete list of all of your reviews. And that's why our first tip was to have that dedicated page on your website with all of your reviews, or alternatively, we do see a lot of Wealthtender clients that will link back to their Wealthtender profile. So think about that as your source of truth, whether it's your Wealthtender profile or the testimonials page on your website. And then once you've done that, now you can start to do all of the other things that we're going to share throughout this presentation, including embedding those testimonials directly on your homepage. Thinking about that landing page, this is what people are seeing. They're learning more about you, your firm, and now they can also finally get to hear what your clients have to say about their experience as well. Putting that right on the front of the homepage is a terrific way to do it.
Absolutely. And in fact, we have some examples here for you today. Hopefully you can see this, but I'm on Cordant Wealth Partners website. It's right on the homepage. I just scrolled down and I can see that there is a scroller here. This is embedded from Wealthtender's website, but regardless if you use Wealthtender or not, you can still find a way to pull in all of your reviews on this homepage. And maybe that initial page is hidden, the one we talked about up front, just having that website page. Maybe it's hidden. Maybe it is your homepage. These could be both two in one. Okay, moving on. Create recurring Testimonial Tuesday and 5-Star Friday posts. So this is a social tip. We love this one because it works really well, and we've seen other advisors do it. So what is it? It's essentially taking your testimonial, taking your review, and plugging it out on Tuesdays or on Fridays on a post on social media. So maybe you don't like the word Testimonial Tuesday or 5-Star Friday. You want to do something different. you can do that. We've had advisors do some other things as well, but it just creates consistency and people will look forward to that testimonial Tuesday or that 5-star Friday. So you can use whatever tools you're currently using. We also have a platform called Testimonial Marketing Studio where we could help you do this as well. And we have an example here to show you what that actually would look like. This came from our Testimonial Marketing Studio. It's like Canva for advisors. It makes it really easy for you. It takes all your reviews, it plugs it in, and it makes beautiful content. But this is Alan Mueller. He's a CFA, MBA, and every single week he does these reviews. So this is an example here of one of those 7 Saturdays financial. That's actually not what we're talking about here, but like a 5-star Friday or a testimonial Tuesday. Okay, moving back along to the deck, turn testimonials into blog content. So Brian, I'll take this one. There's so many opportunities to take a testimonial and plug it into a blog post. But this isn't really just saying that. This is actually telling you if you get a good testimonial, that gives you room to talk to a client and ask them more questions and say, hey, you wrote this testimonial about me. Well, why did you feel this way? Or what led you to feeling this way? And how, what are these outcomes that we've experienced together? Let's go a little bit deeper. This could be a case study. So really, that's what we're talking about here. A case study that can be leveraged and plugged into your blog where other potential clients are looking, they're getting advice, and they're reading about how you've helped other clients. All right, Brian, I'm going to pass this one over to you.
Yeah, so somewhat related, as you're building out those web pages on your site or you have blog articles, think about those tools. We were just looking on social media at those designs that include the disclosures that link back to that representative list of all of your reviews. And clearly that can be done within the 4 corners of an image design or a video design. Those all you can think about basically as ad placements. These are your opportunities to sprinkle in those types of resources within articles, just like you might see in an online publication or on web pages. And if you have web pages focused on a particular demographic or type of client that you're working with or looking to attract, that becomes a great opportunity to take a relevant testimonial and put it right there. So if you are working or attracting, looking at working with people at a particular oil and gas company or technology company, and you have reviews from a client that speak about how you help them with their transition into retirement from that company, that's a great place to utilize that type of a testimonial.
Absolutely. Love that example. Promoting testimonials in directory profiles. Brian, I'm going to let you take this one too.
Yeah, and we'll keep it moving here. So if you have that profile on Wealthtender, of course, that's naturally going to be a place where you can list all your reviews. And again, being that source of truth. Additionally, you have the ability to embed a video on your homepage. And you don't have to think about that just being a video you actually record of yourself. That could be an animated design that you're uploading because it is an animated design, a video file, and putting that squarely so that if somebody's getting to know you and more about you on your profile, they can see a testimonial that's right there that you're looking to promote along with all the appropriate disclosures. And then on other directory profiles, whether it's FPA, CFP, XY planning, really any number of other directories where you have those text areas, you can think about how you can incorporate testimonials there, which may require a little bit of effort to type out that testimonial and ensure that you're also adding the appropriate disclosures and a link back. But if there is not an advanced ability to add an image design, that would certainly be a way to do that. And what Diana is sharing now is we know, and if you haven't heard us talk about this, that Google reviews, Google business profiles can be a bit of a problem from a compliance perspective. But if you take these types of designs, as Archer Investment Management based in Austin is doing, you can upload them to your Google business profile where you can add photos or videos. And now this becomes a compliant way to be able to advertise testimonials within a platform like Google.
Love it. That's awesome. All right, we're going to move along. Thank you, Brian. This next one is another social tip. Add featured testimonials to your LinkedIn profile. So we know that you need testimonials on social media. People are also on social media looking at your content. Maybe they've connected with you. This is just another great channel and opportunity for you to get these testimonials in front of these potential clients if they are. So add them to your LinkedIn profile where they can gain visibility. So there's a way to go about this on LinkedIn, but also there's so many different opportunities like for example, on my LinkedIn, I will pin a post where I have different reviews about me as a speaker. So I'm using the pin feature, for example. You could put a review directly on your LinkedIn banner, like the header. That's, what people see that shows up behind your profile picture. In your About Me section is another way to feature some testimonials on your LinkedIn profile. So there's lots of opportunity here to feature your reviews. And I believe if you come to my actually, this is an advisor. This is David. Hi, David, if you're here with us. He has in his featured section, he has pinned his 5-Star Fridays testimonials. So just several different options here for LinkedIn. And we're talking about LinkedIn a lot today because we've just found a lot of advisors, they like LinkedIn, they do well with LinkedIn, it's easy for them to use. And we know that professionals are on LinkedIn. It might not be your target social platform, but we know there's professionals there. All right, Brian, I'll pass this one to you.
All right, so adding testimonials to your contact or booking page, if you're using a tool like Calendly to let prospects book an introductory call, this is a great place to also think about in that description section where you might be able to add a testimonial, but not necessarily within Calendly itself. A lot of advisors today are doing a great job of embedding your Calendly on a contact page or a get started page that gives you greater flexibility to include that ability to book the meeting. But then above that or below or around that, you can now include a testimonial. So maybe you even have a testimonial from a client that's talked about the great experience they had early days joining your firm, and something like that. As people are in that decision-making process, they might be a little hesitant. Should I pull the trigger, set up that appointment? That's providing them with the reassurance to know that other people have had a great experience. And absolutely, let's get that meeting on the books.
I could not agree more. All of your action pages should have testimonials sprinkled in, whether it's 1, whether it's 3, whatever you'd like, but there should be the voice of somebody else right there, prominent and visible. Okay, number 9, share testimonial quotes as image posts. So I'm going to get specific here with carousels because I like carousels. Algorithms like carousels. If you don't know what a carousel is, I'll show you here in a second. But essentially just a swipe file, a live swipe file of different testimonials that you could create on social media. So here is an example of how I do it on my LinkedIn. This is a carousel. And I just have a scroller here of what other people have had to say about me as a speaker. Now, you as a financial advisor, you'll have to add some disclosures. We help you with all of that at Wealthtender. But this is just a design inspiration. You can, create a scroller and you can put this here on LinkedIn. Instagram also really loves scrollers like carousels like this one. So if you're using Instagram, great tip for that too. Okay, email. Embed testimonials in your welcome emails. One of the most important times that you can make a big impact on a prospect, on a new client, is during their onboarding phase. Whether you consider that 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days, you should be embedding some surprise and delight. You should be focusing heavily on that term of the relationship right there in the beginning. So if you're sending out maybe an onboarding welcome sequence to your prospects or to your clients who are onboarding with you, could sprinkle in a testimonial in one of the emails. We're so excited to work with you. I can't wait to experience, results with you, or however you want to word that. Maybe results isn't the best way, but in the future, I can't wait to check in with you on how you are doing with us. Here's what Casey had to say 90 days in, or, working with us for a few years now. So definitely think about welcome emails as a great place to embed testimonials, but also in your prospecting email. So if you have an email that is going like a campaign or a sequence that's dripping out to prospective clients, this is another great place to put it. We're not necessarily selling specific products here. I mean, some of us are more product oriented than other financial advisors, but regardless if it's a product or it's a service, you're selling something, and reviews will speak to that, right? Reviews tell people, oh, this advisor did solve that problem, or they had a similar problem that I did, and I can see that this was something they worked on together. I want to work on that with this advisor together. Great opportunity to just enhance whatever sales messaging you're saying, because it's not just what you're saying and what you're selling, but it's what somebody else is saying and what they're selling as well. You can match each testimonial to the call to action in the email. Maybe you're doing an email about estate planning, and maybe you have a really good testimonial from a client that you worked on their estate plan with. They're very grateful, and they even mentioned it in the testimonial. That would be a great thing to match up there. All right, Brian, handing this one off to you.
All right, and we're going to move even faster so we can try to hit that time
Yeah.
target. So including testimonials and emails going out to prospects, we've really covered that. But then also, again, we've talked about LinkedIn newsletters or LinkedIn resources. And a LinkedIn newsletter, again, there's a lot of flexibility there to include images, which you can take those designs that you've created in Canva or a tool like Testimonial Marketing Studio and upload that to, again, be kind of like an advertisement or a testimonial that you incorporate into a little bit of the story, or without using a design, you can simply provide that text and make sure that you have the appropriate disclosures there. So what is Lucky 13 here, Diana?
Lucky 13, keep it rolling.
All right, so if you are doing marketing activities offline, so seminars, events, there's a lot you can do here as well, because we've covered whether it's online or offline, the designs that you create, as long as they have the appropriate disclosures, even if in the offline world there's not a clickable link, you can include a QR code or just an easy enough link that people can read and go type it in when they get home to where they can read all of your reviews. So your Wealthtender profile or that testimonials page, that really gives you that autonomy to showcase a single testimonial or a curated list of testimonials, even if they're printed on flyers. Or if you're going out and doing a seminar, you could have that on the screen as people are sitting down. They could see some testimonials that are coming across the screen, or as you're working to get butts in the seats, you've got a flyer waiting there for them where they can read testimonials. Even if they don't know who you are, they're now starting to get to see some of that credibility and trust right out of the gate from what other people have said about their experience.
Love it. All right, number 14, print QR code on business cards linking to your review. So you could do that. You could also just include a short testimonial on your business card if it's short enough. Most of them probably aren't, which is why we lean towards the QR code link. And you could say something like, hear what other clients say about me, right? What do other clients say about working with me? Create that curiosity. It's going to have this person saying, oh, well, what do they say, right? And they're going to want to link out to the QR code. So there's a lot of different ways to position it.
The other
15.
thing on that front, you
Oh,
have
go
the
ahead.
ability, if you wanted that QR code going out to your Wealthtender profile, to not only display your reviews, but this becomes an easy way if you're speaking with a center of influence or somebody you'd like to write a review and get them real time. And by the way, thank you so much. Here's my card. If you have a chance, you can scan that QR code. In less than a minute, even on their phone, they can drop in a review for you. So if you are working to get more reviews, that's a great way to do it. Bonus tip.
That's an awesome bonus tip. Thank you, Brian. All right, 15, use your reviews in pitch decks and prospecting kits. Now, you may not have a pitch deck, but you certainly should have some sort of prospecting materials that you're using in your discovery phase with prospects. So integrate a quote. Maybe it's a slide deck. Maybe it's some sort of handout that you have, something physical, printed or digital. Just make sure you're sprinkling your reviews in these places as well. Again, during points of sale, points of decision, these are very, very impactful. And again, you can align the review to what it is you're talking about on that slide, whether you're talking about how you guys go above and beyond and offer tax planning, whereas many other advisors don't, and you have a review that mentions tax planning, that's a really great place to put it. All right, I'm going to kick this video one off and then pass it back to you, Brian. Love video. Video is super impactful. I think, when it comes to algorithms, social media, we all know video performs really, really well. And then having testimonials in written format is also very, very impactful. Not everybody wants to watch or listen to a video. They want to read it. They want to move along their day. I would argue it's a little more scalable, but we need video. So there's a lot that we could cover in this tip. There's a lot of different ways to go about testimonial videos. I would encourage you to hire a professional, or maybe you use a really cool tool like Video Ask. If you've never heard of Video Ask, I encourage you to check it out. We actually used it this year to collect testimonials from advisors that love using Wealthtender. And it's a really simple, easy to use platform where you can get your clients to get on video on their phone and record something and send it back to you instantly that you could use. So leave this tip with you here. Again, we could go a lot deeper, but we'll move along for time. How about number 17, Brian?
Yeah, so customer interviews and podcast episodes. So just as we talked about how you can print your materials offline, you can also orally present your testimonials. So whether you're recording a podcast or even a live presentation, but we'll stick with podcasts for a minute, you do have that ability to share client stories. And of course, you do need to include the proper disclosures, but you can do that orally. And so with those podcasts, there's really some just unique and fun ways you can do that. Diana, I'll let you talk a little bit about this example.
Yeah, no, this is Mark. He's a financial advisor. He has a very specific niche, seven-figure owner operators. He brings his clients onto his podcast and he doesn't sit there and say, "Hey, can you tell my audience why I'm so great?" He asks them about their experience. He asks them questions that he knows will elicit a response that other people are looking for. Well, here's where I started. Here's where I am today. He does such a good job. So if you want to look through his LinkedIn and look at some of his posts, I highly encourage it. Number 18 is taking these same exact videos and uploading them as YouTube shorts. And the reason I really wanted to fit YouTube in here is because YouTube is an awesome video platform, number one. But number two, YouTube shorts in particular, they have just been generating a lot more engagement for people who are on YouTube. So usually we see a huge spike in your impressions and the amount of people who have liked it and how many follows you get. There's something to be said about YouTube Shorts. I just had an advisor tell me he grew 900%. His page grew 900% because they started using Shorts. And I think it was only over a span of a few months. So take those testimonial videos, make them vertical if they're not already, upload them to YouTube. 19, use quotes in public speaking materials. I'm going to rush through this one, then we'll get through the last one. Anything that you're doing, maybe it's seminars, maybe you're getting out in person to your local community, you're hosting events on a specific topic like taxes or business ownership or estate planning. Make sure you add these quotes in there too. And any good presentation has a nice call to action slide. That could also be a great place to add it in. All right, Brian, do you want to take the last one here?
Sure, and then would love to hear too as we get into the live Q&A, if any of you, if there are topics or ways that you've approached promoting your testimonials that we haven't yet covered, any other questions to start thinking about that. But of course, what we're sharing here, mentioning testimonials and real conversations, and you want to do this tactfully, of course, but you absolutely have that opportunity as you start to collect these reviews from clients, really hear and listen to what they have to say, and then think about how you can regurgitate that back into your conversations. And it doesn't have to be, as we saw on the previous slide, more of a formal presentation, but just how to start incorporating that naturally into the types of conversations that you're having with prospects. So if you do have a bit of a script or an outline that you follow with some of those preliminary conversations, how can you also start to incorporate what other people have said about an experience that you would anticipate might be similar for the type of prospect that you're having a conversation with that's thinking about hiring you?
Woo! Okay, that really was 20 minutes. It was 20 minutes and change. I am very proud of us. And I just want to add one last point to this exact one. There's a reason I put this tip last. Because a lot of the times we think, tactically, like, all right, we got to get a LinkedIn, we got to get to seminar, social media, like whatever our brains are wrapping around marketing wise in any given day. But we often forget the power of just being in person. We often forget the power of just shaking a hand. There's a lot of power in just bringing up these stories when you talk to clients or prospective clients. And if you can't remember these stories, a powerful exercise is to create your own storybook. Just create a storybook where you're recalling from your mind, do I have a good story on this topic? Which client said something meaningful about this topic? All right, put them in this storybook and lean on them when you need to. Over time, you won't really need to look at a physical storybook, but it does help. It's a good mental exercise. So thank you, Brian, for doing this crazy 20 minutes and 20 tips with me. I really appreciate it. If you're with us, we're going to kick off a live Q&A here in a second. I did want to give everyone a way to learn more about how Wealthtender can help you collect and promote client testimonials compliantly. You can scan this QR code. It'll get you to our page in instantly, and you can sign up in less than 2 minutes. I'm also going to add a link here in the chat where you can access this page. So it's wealthtender.com/grow. And if you use coupon code 20tips because you were on this webinar today, by the end of the week, if you sign up, then we'll give you half off your first 2 months on the platform. If you don't know what the heck Wealthtender is, you were just here for the tips, feel free to check out the resources. Click on the link. You'll find that we are a financial advisor directory. We generate traffic every single day for people looking for financial advisors. We create reviews so that people can see what other people have said about working with you, and we make it all super easy and compliant and beautiful as well. All right, so let's move on over here. The last thing I'll share, Gary. So Gary is the CEO of United Financial Planning Group, and he started working with Wealthtender. He was hearing more and more about testimonials. Should I use them in my marketing? How should I use them? He came to us, we gave him an email template, and this is what he said back, which I love this. He says, I can recall one prospect that was interviewing multiple firms. They said to us, it's down to you and 2 other firms. What makes you different? Along with being fee only and having CPAs on staff, I asked this prospect if either of those firms had as many positive reviews as we had. No, they didn't, because not enough advisors are doing this yet. So this gave Gary a leg up. They signed up as wealth management clients. The next day, moved over 1.5 million. So this is, there's a lot more of these stories where this comes from. So again, if you're interested in learning more about Wealthtender, you want to get into this testimonial marketing game, or you have an advisor who you know would benefit from it, scan this QR code or click the link in the chat and you can learn more. All right, let's open up for Q&A. If you're still here with us, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and we've got one question from Christopher. If I have older, so older testimonials and join Wealthtender, is there a good way to map those in? And there is. If you have reviews on a third-party platform like Google, we have an import tool. Alternatively, we can work with you if you have older testimonials and it's a spreadsheet form, or even just manually. We see a lot of advisors that have a handful and want to bring them in. You absolutely can do that. Always good practice to check with your clients that have provided those testimonials to let them know you'll be sharing them online. But of course, your clients loved you and had great things to say for a reason, and that's one of the reasons they're sharing it. So we always hear that they say yes on that. Michelle asks, what are some of the best apps you can use to link Google testimonials to a page on your website? So on this topic, again, this is where Google gets a little bit interesting and kind of can be a problem. So we do see certain compliance consultants that are comfortable letting advisory firms request reviews on Google, so Google reviews. But then the vast majority say, don't acknowledge that the page exists, don't direct people to go check out your Google reviews, don't acknowledge them because you don't want to adopt or entangle yourself with the information, because Google doesn't include the appropriate disclosures in order to be compliant testimonials. So with regard to doing anything on Google, what we really recommend are a couple of things. You can take those reviews, if you do have them on Google, bring them into Wealthtender, and then we're going to go through the process to add the appropriate disclosures. Alternatively, because we are seen as an official review platform by Google, if you're not comfortable using Google reviews to collect reviews and you have multiple advisors and a firm profile on Wealthtender, more often than not, the Google business profile includes a section called Reviews from Around the Web, and we'll start to display your Wealthtender reviews right there. Or you can take that approach that we shared earlier and upload an image design that includes all of the appropriate disclosures and put that into your Google business profile. The real risk, Michelle, of having a link to anything on your own website that links back to like your Google testimonials, or if you pull Google testimonials into your website, is ensuring that you have all of the appropriate disclosures and just recognizing that because of the limitations on a Google business platform, where you don't have that ability to easily determine if there's prohibited content or certain reviews that may not pass muster or disclosure requirements, it just really opens up a can of worms. So there may be a way to do it, but more often than not, what we hear from both compliance consultants and advisory firms is that they haven't found a good way to do it, which again is part of the reason why we built the solution that we did.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Brian. I was just thinking in my head, like, Google is great for exposure, and I think there's a time and place for it. And I think if you've got clients leaving you reviews on Google, like, let them be. But it can be a pretty big headache for compliance. People can't stay anonymous if they wanted to stay anonymous. Google sometimes delete reviews that are actually really good reviews, but they just seem too perfect, so Google deleted them. Again, there's no place to put a disclosure, right? So when you start telling people to look at your Google reviews, you're actually becoming like entangled in that, and that's not compliant because there's no disclosures on Google. Like, Google isn't saying, hey, tell us if you're a client or not, or did you get compensated for this review or not? So we kind of let it sit there, we let it do its thing, but we're doing all of this over here on the advisor side to support it. You'll also see sometimes people will have reviews on Wealthtender, advisors, and our reviews will actually pop up in their Google business profile. It'll say like reviews from other review sites. We're recognized as a review site by Google. So hopefully this helps.
And I did put in the chat a link to an article where we talk about some of the pros, cons, and risks. And, as Diana mentioned, if your compliance department is comfortable, of course, having reviews on a Google business profile from an SEO perspective is great. But again, just recognize that potentially having that profile means pretending basically like it doesn't exist. So it'll be interesting to see where the SEC finally comes out with some enforcement actions or further guidance on this that we do expect we'll probably see later this year too.
Yeah, absolutely. I did get a direct message here. What is the difference between the testimonial marketing studio and Wealthtender?
Yeah, so with Wealthtender, you're going to have a directory listing and visibility with all of the consumers that visit the platform. And then the Testimonial Marketing Studio, you can really think as an overlay or a separate application that you can use similar to Canva, but that incorporates the required compliance disclosures. And just within a couple of clicks, you can click on a review, choose from different templates that have the required disclosures, and then immediately have that design that has all the compliance requirements embedded within it. So you can then post those on LinkedIn or Instagram, social media platform of your choice, or using that as designs you can print offline or in other marketing activities as well.
Yeah, and that was truthfully, that was really born out of, advisors were doing such a good job collecting reviews. They were doing well by having them on their Wealthtender profile. Some of them would take them and get them on social media. Maybe we'd help. But I think it really was stemming from a lot of them saying, hey, well, I want other ways to promote my reviews. I want to get creative, but I don't want to make this a whole other thing and, make it really challenging. There's already a lot in marketing for financial advisory firms. So it was truly born out of that. And now it's easy, super easy in just a few clicks to generate reels and stories and beautiful content, imagery, animated or static using the platform. So hopefully that answered your question. You're so welcome, Michelle. Thank you for coming. And if there aren't any other questions, but I don't know if you've gotten anything direct or not, but I think that this has been great and we could wrap it up. What do you think?
I think that sounds great. I did just put a link to my Zoom. If anybody wants to book a call with me directly, happy to walk you through any follow-up questions or do a deeper dive into Wealthtender as well. Really appreciate everybody joining us today.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful week. Happy Memorial Day almost. We'll see you soon.